All right, great. Thank you very much for your attention. Any comments or questions that you have? I really appreciate it. Go ahead and ask.
Ramin, I had a question.
Yes, Lucas.
Can you re-explain scrap availability?
Oh, scraps are so what happens is give you one example, you have things that there are accidents, things that happen to cars or any kind of the things that it's been used and then they just um, people get rid of so that actually refine the good parts are used. Some parts that are not usable, they're not good, they are scrapped. So they are on the sides and they are like a secondary usage. So sometimes there's just so much of them that they are not usable, they put them aside, but then they will go ahead and mold them and try to use that. As a matter of fact, there's a lot of like businesses that you will hear is like called scrap metal, and most of them come from the cars that they have been totaled. So what do you do with those cars? So they use them for the metal parts and all the other parts. So they call them scrap. So that's what that means. Things that it can be reused, but it comes from the finished goods that they're not usable right now. Is that clear? Does that help you?
Yes, that makes sense.
I mean, some people make millions. I remember in 1980s, I did a family business, and it was a cash business. They made millions, and that's all they did. The scrap. I mean, people would
Wow.
drive their car, and they will sell these scrap metals for the users that they wanted to reuse it, and basically recycle it and make new things with it. So it's a big business, but that's what I meant by
Okay,
good question.
perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions or comments?
Hey, I mean,
Yes.
I like the long-term investment outlook for copper. Just like I've done a lot of research on this, and as you say, this you have the demand side, and then the limited supply side. But um, it seems like it's a long-term, it's a very long-term view, right? I mean, because in the meantime, it's copper. When I first was interested in it, I thought, yeah, that's great. About 6 months ago, and but now copper has come down a lot since then. But I think the overall thesis is still intact. But I guess if if you were to play copper, you have to sustain this volatility of up and down in the meantime.
No, you're absolutely right. So it all depends. I think there's two major, I would say three. The major factor would be China. There would be another factor would be, for instance, global economy as a whole, and the third one would be a dollar. Now, we had a fourth one, if you recall, when beginning of the year, the President Biden signed into that infrastructure bill, and that was like $1.2 trillion, and that was all about alternative energy and other things. So that was a booster for the copper. But again, the economy, it overtakes everything. So basically, like you said, I would recommend, yeah, I would either you have to look at more of a long term and maybe play spreads on options on basically more of a like a 6 months or a year kind of thing, or what do you do? Just wait. So generally, what we found out, anytime it goes below the $2, it has been a fantastic long term. And when I say long term, it's like even for a year, it's been a great bounces. When we are in the 3 area zone, we usually have this bounces between 3 and 4. As I mentioned, that 4 becoming a ceiling, and so we want to pay attention to that. So the $4, once we break it, we should have really good global economy to follow up. But I think one ace will be, again, the behavior of China. What is going to happen with the demand, and as far as their growth, their GDP has been going down, but then, with the election coming up and the plans that they have, and whether the opening of the economy, could that be a catalyst? So in the meantime, what you could do, my objective was more on the fundamental side to understand, so you can play these bounces again, maybe from 2 standard deviation to 1 standard deviation through playing it through maybe Freeport McMoRan or Southern Copper, something like that, with the options as a swing trading, knowing that there has to be a much bigger force to have this long-term trend changed. So as far as the demand goes, so but it is a good play. I mean, it is something extra. Again, you put it on your itinerary to watch. And as you know, every week anyway, I do analyze that copper.
It's
But
interesting you brought it up this week because I look at Value Line every week, and in this week's Value Line, they had the mining sector, and so I was looking at them, and as I just have them in my hand right now, Southern Copper, Rio Tinto, BHP, they have very high dividend yields, like 8%, 8.7, 9.6.
yeah.
That's like it's a good way to play it in ways you're waiting for copper to go up, and in the meantime you're getting these high dividend yields if they can sustain them, obviously, right?
Correct. I think that's a very good one. One of the things that it was with the S&P staying up till beginning of this year was that obviously the comparison of the dividends to when you have the treasury, short-term treasury yield. Now you have a competition, so you require higher premium. So that's why all of a sudden this dividend stock, not this one, but dividend stocks for even S&P, now there's more demand because there's more expectations, and then obviously earning yield is going as far as it's going down. So basically that's not helping the markets either. So basically you have the competition from higher yields. But yeah, that is a good observation, and that's something that
just
again
popped
you can
into my
combine
eye.
it with your technical side. So
These are really juicy dividends.
they are, yes. They're big
Thank
companies.
you, Ramin.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments? I hope it was helpful. It was something different. Actually, we are building our library of the commodities. So hopefully once in a while we can go back and just revisit to have a better picture. I think the commodities are they're here for a while. I mean, they have come down, but I think it's great to understand them, and they're easier to trade in my opinion. So anyway. All right. Oh, okay. Well, I try to make it short every week. I try to have take a little less of your time and just go to the point. If there's no other questions, any comments or requests, if there's none, I appreciate you being here. It's great seeing you, Sean. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you, everyone. You're very much appreciated. Have a great rest of your week. Interesting times, Thursday and Friday, and end of the quarter. Just remember that. So Friday will be the last day. And with that in mind, if there's any comments or questions, I wish you a wonderful week ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Ramin.
Thank you, Rami.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Lucas. Thank you, Matthew. Bye now.
Bye.
Bye-bye.